We should booby-trap the cargo on your ship. I don't trust any of your crew not to steal it.
Already, huh? Not gonna throw around a ball and do some male bonding first? Alright, fire away. That's a long story. You sure you want to hear it? Or are you cool with the short version?
Oh God, seriously?
Oh, fine. I'll start from the beginning. So I got a reputation in the smuggling business. No muss, no fuss. But my main rule is, I don't rat out my suppliers. And I got 20 months in a Martian prison eating salted rocks to prove it. Sure they did. Freedom, a swanky apartment, and all the steak I could eat. But there's an old saying, you feed birds bread, they forget how to fetch the berry. I don't know about you, but I'm not gonna live a beggar's life to be king for a day. Smuggling organs, and I know what you're thinking, but I'm just the delivery guy. Not my business who they belong to. Damn straight. So I'm expecting to do hard labor. Strings on my back like a damn puppet for the UC. But after 6 months, I get out for good behavior. Well, I tell them they got the wrong guy. My behavior flat out stinks. Still, the guard insists, says someone in a fancy suit vouched for me, and he's waiting at the broken spear. Now, I've never worn a suit in my life, and I don't deal with anyone who does. And I'm willing to bet this guy's favor comes with his own set of strings. Best I can tell, a middleman. Maybe he worked for the Snakes, but more likely he was just a contact, twice removed. Correctamundo. I was on probation, and that means twice the checks and pat-downs. Even if my old contacts were still around, no one would want to take the risk. Anyway, guy offers me a job, but he's real light on the details. He can't tell me what cargo he wants to move. He can't tell me who it's for. Won't even tell me his damn name. Just wrote some numbers on a napkin and left the bar. But the napkin told me all I needed to know. The coordinates and the payment. In advance. Yeah, I would have preferred that, but I get why they didn't. There's no guarantee I wouldn't just sell those numbers to the highest bidder. Not a lot, but enough. As for the job, it went down like this. I jumped to the location, and there's another guy waiting for me. My job is to pass off the cargo to him. Thing is, he's a real chatty bastard. Tells me the same story I just told you, how he was given coordinates to land and coordinates to jump to. He tells me he thinks there's a whole crew of us working like a relay team, but I keep my mouth shut because it's none of my business. Funny thing is, next time I do the job, the chatty guy's gone, and I'm doing his route instead of mine. Maybe. There's no maybe about it. The guy's dead as groat shit. Anyway, every time I do the job, the jumps get more and more remote, and the relay team gets smaller and smaller. And the more remote the job, the more slick the operation. Faces I haven't seen, shorter drop-offs, no convos. It's all business. Then one day, I'm asked to meet with someone who clearly isn't local. Yep. And yeah, from the start I had a feeling that's who was gonna be at the end of the rainbow. But none of it's real until the leprechauns show up at your door. At that point, I realized the whole thing was a test, and now it's time to jump to the homeland for real. I also knew that if I screwed this up, I'd be a dead man, so pressure was on. I could hear my old man chirping in my head, reminding me to keep from shaking. So I kept still, said nothing, and completed the job. More importantly, I earned their trust. The rest is like that old tale about Jinan and the snake. History. Doctor prescribed it for me. Said it'd be good for my blood pressure. No, it's more like a you not getting the joke problem, but I'll let it slide because I like you. But if you want the real story, I became a smuggler for the same reason any hustler, deadbeat, or soldier of fortune does anything. Money. I did it for the money. We had enough. You know how smuggling isn't all the way bad, just a little bad? Well, maybe if we were poor, I would have been a pirate or spacer, but I only had to break the law a little to get by. True, but you can only make the most money one way, the way that works best for you. I like to think so. I guess I'll start from the beginning. My dad was a military guy, and we moved around a lot. That meant spending a lot of time at spaceports. That's where I got my education. I'd watch how crates were moved, logged, and stashed. I'd see how palms were greased and how to ask for what you want without saying what you mean. Had to be. The military was his life. The old man didn't have much else. He could fit all his interests into a teaspoon if he had to. Just a master's? Don't sell me short. I've got at least a doctorate. Long story short, I eventually saved enough to buy a small freighter and got in contact with the guy at the Trade Authority. And here's the kicker. My first job? Smuggling a big old pile of Varun heretic writings. At the time, I thought they were just pamphlets. But hey, maybe they were a sign. It's all run by House Dulkef, from managing the supply chain to enlisting spies and doing intelligence. They call themselves the Ministry of Commerce. I thought it was just a fancy name for a smuggling racket, but being on the inside, I can tell you it's a well-oiled machine. Everything runs on time, every book is exact to the decimal, and everybody involved knows to keep their mouth shut. Gotta be. Although I haven't met any myself, and I know better than to ask. I answer what I can, but I don't tell any secrets. I mean, hell, I don't know any secrets, and I'd like to keep it that way. You mean all that serpent stuff? I don't know. Isn't any crazier than the Sanctum Universum. I've lived a long time and seen a lot of weird shit. Great serpent, lesser hamster, holy pineapple. It's all the same to me. Pray to whoever or whatever you want. If your creds are good, then so are we. One time, I had to do a job that was part smuggler, part taxi. And this guy I was delivering was a mean son bitch. Had a bunch of rules too. Most of them were bullshit, of course. Like, no eating in the cockpit. So, me being the consumer of fine snacks that I am, I wait until he goes below deck and unwraps some chunks. I'm just about to take a bite when I feel this presence behind me, hovering. So I turn around to peek. And sure enough, he's right there. There's this long pause, like he's about to rage and about to go full vortex horror on me. So I'm thinking I'm a dead man. Dornell City, don't let the hammer hit you on the way out. But then he asked me, "Is that a chunk? Where can I get one?" I already tried to pitch the idea. Even had a cute name for it. Snake bites. Didn't get any takers. Some people just lack vision, I guess. But yeah, turns out the guy was an oddball. Never tried chunks before. That got me thinking though. There's a lot of people like that on Varun Kai. So I started a side hustle doing stuff off the books. Whatever your sin, I got you covered. Hell, give me enough time and I might become Dazra's unofficial ambassador. Sure. Even in the settled systems, I don't just smuggle valuables. I bring food, stories, bat ball scores. I've got a client who pays me a king's ransom just for a recording of last year's championship game. Point is, I feel like I can be a missionary to Dazra, teaching the Bible of fast food and contact sports. Nothing worth doing is without risk. At least I heard someone say that in a movie once. Either way, none of it matters now. I don't smuggle full-time anymore now that I work for you. I still got my side hustle, sure. But the less you know, the better. I can tell you, but just so you know, talking about this stuff's not really my thing. I'd rather not talk about that. Look, my family and I aren't close. I'd like to give you a sob story like we're all alcoholics or something. But the truth is a lot stranger. We just don't talk. It's not like we hate each other or anything. If I see my brother, I'll be the first to give him a hug. It's just been 10 years since the last one. Nope. Weird, I know. But that's just not something we ever did. That's why me getting stuck on Varun Kai wouldn't seem out of the ordinary to anyone. If I get lost, the only people who are gonna file a missing persons report are the goons at the Trade Authority. I don't know, the thought never crosses my mind. It's not like I'm dying or anything. Of course, when I do die, it'll probably be another 20 years before someone tells them. You think so? If they're anything like me, I doubt it. It's not that I don't care. I just don't care enough. I'm too busy trying to work the space lanes to worry about which cousin has a birthday this week. But fine. If it'll make you happy, maybe I'll send a slate and see what they're all up to.
Hey, Captain. Not at all. Ask away. It's hard to put into words. The part I find most difficult is the fact that I was taken by zealots. How much did my cousin's work aid their ability to take me hostage? Did they know? Or were they simply misguided? I can't help but feel that way. I've always felt like an outsider, and what they did almost ensured I always would be. But the question must be asked, lest it repeat itself. Regardless, I've heard Razma will be enforcing stricter guidelines for new members going forward. It is necessary, but at the same time, I wonder if we are closing the very door I once used to become a Kadik, because I cannot help but see the parallels between myself and Okim. Time will tell. It's only a remnant of what it once was. The scaled citadel, missing from the horizon, is a constant reminder of that. And yet, I still feel Dazra offers much to a visitor like yourself. To me, cities are like people. They have personalities, moods, and stories. Some days you want a teacher. Others you need a guide. And some days you seek neither. You just need a friend. Empathy for others. Patience for the lost. Discipline for what must be endured. And a working hand to pet the groats. By knocking with opportunity. Whispers, rumors, and gossip can lead to new adventures. You just have to lend your ear to them. A city is the perfect companion. It gives you fun, entertainment, and it's a great listener. Well, depending on where you are. Somber, for all it has endured. But also resilient, for the rebuilding and the work yet to come. Dazra and its people will rebound from this tragedy. I am sure of it. It's rough and hazardous, like its people. But outside of our culture, it's also shaped the way our technology has grown. The planet is rich with natural resources, and we use them in our grab drive experiments. None of this is coincidence, of course. The Great Serpent called us here, knowing Varun Kai would provide for the promised. Okay, let's. It's a snake with two heads, pardon the pun. Our elder Razma leads the Ministry of Conjunction, and Jimal, her sister, is a mediary on the High Council. They are sisters in every sense of the word. Close, like-minded, but when they disagree, It's very much like nuclear fission. When the bond is split, energy is released, and kaboom! The world explodes. Okay, maybe it's not that dramatic, but you get the idea. Gavin is dear to me. Unlike my other colleagues, with him I never feel like it's a competition. I can tell him about my research and not have to worry about him spinning it as his own. Uncle Mujin, you know. It doesn't surprise me in the least he was found aiding the Zealots. It wasn't overt, but every now and then he'd say something Zealot adjacent and the entire room would go silent. As for Cousin Mirek, he and I have never gotten along. I don't know if he sees me as a threat, but he has never treated me like one of the family. It is unfortunate, but fated. That's a complicated question. In the noble houses, there are two types of family. The ones who are born into it, and the ones who are brought into the fold. I was adopted into House Kadik as a teenager because of my gift. Adopted implies we are brought on to be cared for. If anything, conscripted fits better. I was brought on to serve. Until they cease having worth. Then what happens? Unlike a lot of my cousins, I didn't join House Kadik until I was mostly grown. And ever since I joined, there's always been an element of you don't belong here. That I'm only a Kadik so long as I'm useful. Herald, bless you. It means a lot to hear you say that. I know I like to project confidence and act as if I know everything. But the truth is, it's all an act. Whenever I talk about something, it's as if I have this voice in the back of my head telling me I'm wrong. And sometimes that voice gets so loud that I have to scream my own praises just to drown it. I know that in my heart, but still, I can't help but feel like I'm one mistake away from losing everything. As if the ground itself is like sand, sliding out from under me. Anyway, thank you for the talk. I know a lot of this is in my own head, and you've given me a lot to think about. If you don't mind, I'd like to digest it a little more before we continue. You bet.
Well, that is some ship you have there. It has been too long since I've tinkered with a ship from the settled systems. Well, I had a privileged upbringing that allowed me to hone my skills on all sorts of different ships. So, if you need anything for your ship, just let me know. I have no idea. It has happened before, but well before my time. Your arrival here was shocking, to say the least. About that. My father was a technician far outside of Dasra. Growing up, I would help him repair or strip all of the ships that were being delivered to him. Delivered by Zealots. The ships were incredible. Deimos, Stroud Eklund, even Hope Tech. It was so exciting to work on them, but now I just feel dirty. Knowing where those ships came from, what had to be done to acquire them. When I grew older, I came to my senses, grew a conscience, and abandoned my father. I thank the Great Serpent that I managed to avoid that life. Oh, no. Not in Dazra, at least. From time to time, our connections are able to deliver an outsider ship. They are very rare, though, and the times I get to work on one are very few and far between. Thank you. It is moments like these that I know I made the right choice.
How are you? I was stubborn before, you know that. Everything I thought about you was wrong. You have done so much for this city, for these people. For that, I give you my sincere thanks. And I am sorry for being such a distrusting fool. Thank you. You have given more for Dazra than most. To put yourself in danger time and again, for a city that is not your home, for people you did not know. For that, you have my gratitude and my respect.
What do you want?
Do you have any rations to spare, Makola?
I do not waste people's time. If you need my goods, you will buy them. If not, you will leave. I do not know what to make of your arrival here. You may have convinced the others, but I'm not entirely sure you are not a foe. However, your credits are worth as much as anyone else's. I will trade with you, but I have no interest in being your friend. Now, what do you want? I have no reason to be concerned. The Great Serpent is testing our faith, and my devotion has always been resolute. Myself and my business shall both be stronger at the end of this, as a product of our loyalty to the Great Serpent. Business has never been better, and that is good enough for me. No, you will always be an outsider to me. Always. The last thing this city needs is to open the gates and let outsiders flood in. Outsiders with weapons, crew, ulterior motives. I am disappointed that so many of my people have embraced you so blindly, when we should have found strength within each other. I will not dignify that nonsense with an answer.
I would give anything. Anything. Just to see her one more time. I could not care less if I get in trouble. If I disappear now, because of the things I have been saying, it would be a mercy. Look at me. Do I look like I care if I live or die? I'm a walking corpse already. The Great Serpent saw fit to kill everything I held dear in this lifetime. And he chose to torture me by leaving me untouched. My fate is not seeing me through. Because perhaps it was our faith that put us in this position. I really do not care, one way or another. Nothing will change what happened to us, what was taken from us. For a lot of people, there is nothing in our future. We were supposed to start families, our careers, our lives. Then the calamity stopped it all, and our lives stopped too. My past is all I have. The new speaker can never give me a future. I am grateful for these opportunities to remember her. But to be honest, words can never do her justice. Her family did not like me. They said I was a dead end, not fit to be a husband or a father. They had a husband already picked out for Mira. But she would not hear it. She was just so supportive. She did not care what anyone, much less her family, thought of me. She just loved me and I loved her. That was the end of it. I knew I loved her since we were children, really. She was my neighbor, and I would do anything to get her attention. But I honestly did not think I would ever actually be so lucky to marry her. I just cannot believe she's gone. Perhaps. But she was the most important person in the world to me. I feel like it would be a disservice to move on. And if it means being sad for the rest of my life, to have a black hole eating away at me, so be it. That is how I remember her. Because she was that important.
Stay as long as you like. I ask only that you respect our privacy. By the mercy of the Great Serpent, my home was spared, and none close to me were lost. However, the suffering of our people is great. I am blessed with resources beyond what many in the city possess, and I have given what I can. I hope that my humble contribution will bring comfort where it is needed. It is indeed. The honorable man is remembered and revered long after his passing. His descendants and kin inherit some of that honor for themselves, for they too will be well regarded. The man without honor is cursed to bear the shame of his deeds for all time. He will be shunned by the Great Serpent and dwell in endless darkness. An ancestor of mine earned a reputation as a skilled warrior and courageous leader. She came to earn the respect, admiration, and even devotion of some of our people. By the favor of the Great Serpent, she also amassed a small fortune. This has allowed generations of my family to live in comfort. The greatest treasure, however, is the prestige of the Hajtal name. No price can be laid upon that. An ancestor of mine earned a reputation as a skilled warrior and courageous leader. She came to earn the respect, admiration, and even devotion of some of our people. By the favor of the Great Serpent, she also amassed a small fortune. This has allowed generations of my family to live in comfort. The greatest treasure, however, is the prestige of the Hajtal name. No price can be laid upon that.
I heard my granddaughter singing the other day. It was faint, but it was definitely her. Does this mean she's still alive? I don't understand. She was just here, singing. I could hear it. How could she have passed? But I can see in your eyes. There are some things that cannot be conveyed with words alone. If she is gone and at rest, then I can only pray that she has found her place among the promised. Thank you for telling me.
A few months ago, I would have made you all regret treating me this way.
This is happening.
Say that again. Go on then. Keep making your threats.
Save your bullets, damned fool. I am going.
You are the one who spoke with Nasko Varun. And you wish to speak with me? You misunderstand. No one in Dazra speaks with me, or even acknowledges my existence. If they do, it is with scorn. And yet, here you are, speaking with me as if I were a person. Which begs the question, what do you want with me? Who sent you? I am not welcome in Dazra. Guards demanding my removal is about the only acknowledgement I garner. The details of that commotion, however, do not presently concern you. If that is true, we should continue this conversation elsewhere. Meet me at my shack outside of Dazra. You cannot miss it.
This guy may be weird, but like I always tell Cora, don't judge a book by its cover.
We will get to know each other well, just not here. My home is away from prying eyes and judgment. I do not wish for people to disparage you for associating with me. Good. I look forward to having a real conversation. First one in months.
I hope he's okay. I'm so worried. It's my brother. Ever since I got his letter, I've been worried he might be in trouble. I don't know if there was one thing, but he was mentioning zealots and people talking bad about him. It was just a whole basket full of worries, but not a lot of details. No. I'd held on to hope he was still alive. But the last time I spoke to him, he said if anything ever happened to him, he'd leave something for me. In the usual spot. I've been thinking about going there, but I'm afraid to look. Maybe, but I'm not sure he would want that. I will not try to fight you, if that is what you wish. He had so few people he could trust. So, if you are his friend, then you must be an honorable person. The spot he mentioned was under the meat house. It's where I used to hide when we played hide and seek. I have a key here. Do you think you can check and see if he left anything? Yeah, I think I want to know. Oh, thank you. I really hope he's okay.
If you need assistance, full disclosure, I am not a healer. I am a volunteer, so if that makes you uncomfortable, you may be better served by Hanton Irara at the Halls of Healing. If she is available, that is. Thank you for saying so. I am not doing this for recognition, but sometimes I can feel overwhelmed. I wonder if I am making any difference at all. But someone needs to help, and it may as well be me. I hope so. Thank you for saying that. No, I was a veterinarian. I would provide care for the farmers' groats, but that seems like a lifetime ago. A human is not a groat, of course, but my veterinary skills have proved useful enough. This is the aid tent where we treat those from the refugee camp. So many people have lost their homes, and the halls of healing can only hold so much. I try not to be, and most of the time I am not, but at times, the gravity of the situation becomes a bit much for me to take. Our work is never ending. You help one person, 5 more require your assistance, and then 10 more after that. How much of a difference am I really making? Me, a volunteer. Maybe I am just getting in the way. There I go again. Those negative ramblings are not doing anyone any good.
I'll make the deposits into your accounts. Your family will be taken care of for generations to come.
And the thief?
Oh, we'll have a mountain of evidence linking them to the crime. Don't you worry. Especially after you convince them they need to visit Jandar's Rest. It's the same as when I put the supplies on hold. You make it seem like it's their idea to help the zealots, when in reality, we're just setting them up to take the fall.
You seem pleased.
I've waited a long time for this one. I can't wait to see the look on his face. Or his corpse. I'm not sure. Anyway, good job. You've served me well, but it's time we part ways. Fish and guests, as they say. I've only got one more task for you before our business is concluded. Something to really nail down your house as the bad guy.
And what's that?
I want Kisrani Dulkev dead. And I want you to convince your boss to order the hit.
What? I do that and I won't make it out of the city alive. It's a suicide mission.
Is there a problem?
Just make sure my sister is taken care of.
Did you find my brother? Is he okay? I had a feeling that's what happened. It's not like him to leave and not say goodbye. I need some time alone. I'm sorry.
You have come. Please, sit with me, so that we may continue our prior conversation. Sure. Not much of a home, but I have no alternatives at the moment. Then, let us rectify that now. Please, sit. I am not very accustomed to having discussions. At least not yet. I used to simply give demands, orders, ultimatums. And old habits die hard. Tell me, does the name Kozlov mean anything to you? Many people who heard that name do not live long enough to hear it again. Kozlov is what those in Dazra would refer to as a zealot. A brutal, sadistic one at that. His love of violence has eclipsed any supposed dedication to the Serpent's crusade. He kills simply because he enjoys it. And I was his right-hand man. 3 months ago, I gave up that life, swearing to never go back.
Yep, there it is. I knew this guy was bad news.
I am not a threat to anyone. Be quiet, and do not act like you know me. You deserve to know who you are speaking to. And it is no secret. The people of Dazra refuse to speak to me due to my past. And who can blame them? As painful as it is. I do understand them. But I hope to one day earn their trust. I understand your suspicion. I am probably the only one of my kind. Reformed zealots simply do not exist. And yet, here I am. I was not expecting such a muted response. I do not know if that makes me feel good or bad. My new life, as short as it has been, has not been easy. All I want is a new start. To forget who I was, what I have done. When you become haunted by the ghosts of countless dead, people who have died violently by your hand, you begin to worry about what awaits you on the other side. I have ended so many innocent lives. Many times in ways I refuse to speak of. And every time, Kozlov was there. Laughing. Cheering. I realize now that it was not the Great Serpent I sought approval from, but of him. To think I have done such horrible things to be accepted by a wicked man like him. It sickens me. And yet, for reasons I do not understand, I viewed him as my brother for most of my life. Sometimes I still think of him in that way. It is not as simple as that. The people of Dazra do not trust me. I am exiled, doomed to spend the rest of my life in this shack, waiting for Kozlov to eventually come for me. There is only one way to truly move on. Kozlov and his zealots have taken refuge on Verun Kai. They will come for me in time when I least suspect it, and I will not stand a chance against them alone. Which is why you and I will strike first and wipe them out. Together, we may stand a chance. With Kozlov and his zealots made dust by our hands, the people of Dazra will see that I truly am reformed, and I can finally begin my life anew. Of course, I am desperate, and I am selfish. Is it so wrong to be? Am I supposed to just wither and die as a hermit in this sloughing shack? Maybe that is all I deserve. But that is not what I want. I refuse to go back to what I was. And I will do whatever it takes, if it means I can start living again. Good! Yes! You are doing a good thing. We both are. Now, meet me at this location as soon as you are able. Be prepared for a fight. Politics, fear, even hope. It is a complicated subject. In case you are unaware, the people you know as Zealots were once House Malin, one of the noble houses in Dazra. Opinions of Zealots vary in Dazra. Most are distrusting and fearful, but others are sympathetic. And I am sure some even hope that one day House Malin will return to Dazra. To some, violently removing a zealot could be seen as raising a hand against a noble house. As I said, it is a complicated subject. Much easier to just ignore me and hope the problem goes away. My belief in the Great Serpent has not changed, but my commitment to the Serpent's crusade is no more. I have meditated on this for quite some time, but I believe that the Great Serpent afflicted me with guilt as punishment for straying from the Serpent's crusade. I was following Kozlov, not him. But from that guilt came a reckoning for my past actions. And I have lost the will to continue the crusade. I suppose now I am an accursed myself. Of course not. I am not sure of anything. But I have no other options. Once I do this, there is no going back. This will be seen by Zealots as an act of blatant heresy. There will be no chance of reconciliation, and I will become a dead man walking to them. If that does not convince the people of Dazra of my conviction, my earnestness in leaving that life behind, then nothing will. All right? He never did. When I approached him about my newfound crisis of conscience, he kept me under constant surveillance. One night, when the others were asleep, I fought my guards and barely escaped. Undoubtedly, Kozlov is prideful, and leaving the crew is the greatest dishonor anyone has ever dared to commit against him. He killed many of our crew for much lower offenses. As much as his zealots respect him, they also fear him. But what would they have to fear if it was acceptable to leave him? It is only a matter of time until Kozlov comes and makes an example out of me. There is a small but important distinction between Kozlov and other zealots. A zealot, brutal as he may be, kills in the name of the Serpent's crusade. They kill those they deem not worthy of the Great Serpent. Kozlov, despite his bluster and phony piety, kills in the name of killing. He simply enjoys it. And a zealot with a bloodlust is a very dangerous thing. Many zealots, all willing to die in order to protect Kozlov. We must both be prepared for a great amount of bloodshed. And, obviously, there will be Kozlov himself. He will keep his most powerful warriors close to him. This will not be an easy fight. This is the place. Are you ready? One thing. Kozlov will want to talk before he tries to kill us. He has always been theatrical, like a predator playing with its food. Do not listen to his lies. The time has come. Let us spill some blood.
Oh, how great of you to visit. It has been far, far too long. And this accursed is... What is this? Your friend? Pet?
We come bringing death, Kozlov. Your time is up.
Great serpents, thanks. Are you not happy to see me? We were practically brothers just a few months ago. So rude. So accursed. You and Orahim, you've slaughtered my brethren in the name of what, exactly?
Enough, Kozlov. You will speak to me only.
Who? It seems to me that Orahim is afraid of what I may say. Terrified, petrified of me revealing his true nature to you, accursed. I am sure he went on and on about how evil I am. How it was I that forced him to commit horrible atrocities, whatever those may be. All of it merely a deflection. Orahim was the most brutal out of all of us. He had a lust for blood that was legendary. Oh, I wish you could have seen him in his prime. Oh, I never knew honesty to be one of Orahim's virtues. I remember many times he would lie to win over the trust of an accursed before stabbing them in the back. Literally. So he has told you everything, including the incident where he immolated the crew of a hauler one by one? Or what of the time he...
Enough! I need no reminders of what I have done. I relive those scenes every day. I see ghosts every night. I am cursed. The past cannot be changed. But your death, Kozlov, will serve as some small penance.
Ooh, poor Orahim. Oh, boo-hoo. It seems having a conscience is such a heavy burden. This is all quite pathetic, really. I can't forgive your betrayal. But what I cannot abide is your stinking hypocrisy. You deliver death to my doorstep, and then speak to me of righteousness? This is heresy, damn it! I kill accursed in the Great Serpent's name, to feed the corpses of unbelievers to him, and I love it. I love it. I know what I am. What I kill for. But you are trying to be something you are not. A hero. And you decide to start your new life with yet more acts of violence against the very same that once adored you, no less? Against the true House Varun? You have not changed at all. Death is all you know, only now it seems everyone's a target. When did you become so pathetic? We used to idolize you. Now you are just... so boring. Listen now, accursed. You are Orahim's friend, so it falls on you to show him mercy. The poor fool. Oh, great serpent, he is so tortured. He wants so badly to forget what he's done, to live amongst those he has killed by the shipful a few months ago. Why not put him out of his misery? Whatever he is paying you for this charade, I will provide even greater compensation.
Do not try it.
I am not proposing that you trust me, but is it so wise to trust him? I have spent my whole life by his side. I understand his true nature. You do not. I am no idiot. I know that all of this was a misguided effort to gain the favor of the accursed in Dasra. But think, just think. Would you truly trust this man as your neighbor? Do you want to be the one responsible for unleashing a bone crest into a field of growths?
Do not listen to him.
A sloughing pragmatist. You really are quite a loyal pet. Rahim has you on his leash, it seems. So let us just hurry things along then. Come now! The great serpent shall feast upon your bleeding, broken corpses!
Finally, it is done. With Koslov dead, the people of Dazra should finally see that I am a zealot no more. My ties to that life have been well and truly severed. I promised you payment. Here, take this. It is a key to a deposit in my shack. It is yours. All of it. Thank you. Really, thank you for everything. Go on now. I will stay here for a time to think and meditate. Hopefully, I will see you in Dazra.
Salutations, Vindicator. Of course, let's talk. I'm self-taught, actually. My parents died before I could remember, and I was left in the care of the orphanage. But I left at a young age to train as a herald, so I could someday spread the gospel of the Great Serpent. Except there is one problem. I refused to speak. I was completely mute. That is a good guess, but I'm too young to remember. I just remember trying to speak, and finding no sound, no breath behind the words. No, actually. I was brought to the halls of healing and my vocal cords were fine. It was a mental block. The heralds might have agreed, especially when you're dealing with orphans who ask too many questions. I was told to focus on reading, writing, and shooting. However, since I was left to my own devices, oftentimes I would make my own curriculum. And the more I read about Jinan Varun, the more curious I got about the physics behind grav jumps. But it wasn't until I met my father, Amon Kadik, that my path changed from herald to scientist. Yes, when we say all must serve, we mean it. It's just the manner of service that varies. But the base expectation is that we know how to fight. For myself, long-range weapons made the most sense due to my size. But I also trained with the growth dagger in the event I had to be sneaky and kill someone close. Razma and Jimal's uncle, on their mother's side. Due to his work, he was mostly removed from the politics of the house. But he was respected and had enough favor among the family to adopt me without much dissent. That would be some trick if you did. No one has seen him for years. But while he was here, he accomplished much in service to House Faroon. We met in the strangest way. He was dealing with a mathematical problem, but came to the temple to pray for guidance. Oh, you should have seen the look on his face when I offered him the solution. It was the second most shocked look I've ever seen in my life. Well, maybe I exaggerated a little. I pointed him in the right direction. He carried it to the finish line. From there, we discussed all manner of scientific theory for hours and hours into the night. At some point, the sun began to cut through the windows, and the heralds began to spill in for their morning prayer. And that's when I saw the most shocked look I have ever seen in my life. Because they all realized what I didn't until that very moment. My voice had come back. That's what Amon said too. So he adopted me into House Kadik to train me as his apprentice. For the next 6 years, Amon helped me grow from an amateur physicist to the person I am today. And then one day, he just disappeared. No one knows why. That's a hard question to answer. We were always supportive of each other, but there was also a distance between us I could never cross. And I don't know how I'd feel if it turned out he abandoned us and the project. But I do hope that wherever he is, he's okay. No. He was always a private man, but it's a complete mystery. No one saw him leave, and there's no record of his departure. It's almost as if he vanished into thin air. It was. But I didn't have time to really process what happened because of the work we were doing for the High Council. Regardless, that day I not only lost a mentor, I lost my chief advocate. My colleagues started to ignore me. They didn't respect me as a scientist, so of course no one listened when I warned them about the morning device. In a strange way, I had lost my voice again. Oh, I bet they do, but they will never admit it publicly. It's odd to say, but the disaster is what gave me my voice back. There's a comfort in knowing history will remember me kindly, even if my colleagues will not. I'm not sure I follow. There's nothing to reconcile. Our beliefs don't contradict science. Traditional scientists may differ, but they have a history of being close-minded. It's almost as if the older you get, the more stubborn and rigid your brain becomes. Like bread. Well, how would you describe dark matter? It's invisible, formless, not bound by the rules of electromagnetism. Yet without it, the universe cannot be explained. The motion of galaxies, the clusters and filaments, it all becomes a mystery when you remove this unknowable thing. The vortex of folded space is the same way. There are parts we understand, and parts that only make sense in the context of a greater being. That being is what we call the Great Serpent. I'll answer your question with another. When did you start to believe the sun will rise? At first, it's just something you take on faith. As you grow up, you learn to doubt. And faith without reason is a fool's scripture. Therefore, you seek answers. You learn about the rotation of the planets and the life cycle of a star. And so your faith in the sun's rise becomes something else. A matter of fact. Exactly! Nothing is given. Everything is dope. Anyway, sorry if I seem a little defensive. I'm just used to people not taking me seriously. I'm one of the best scientists in the world, but I still have to fight for respect because I look so young. And I respect you, but it's only because we engaged each other with an open mind. Others don't. And it's not just science. I get the same dirty looks when I preach the gospel of the Great Serpent. No one wants to be lectured by a child. But if I was bald and bearded, I bet even the accursed would become true believers. Those who do not believe in the Great Serpent, They are cursed to die in the shrouding, unless we can open their hearts to his teachings. Well, for that, I have an entire theory of how the serpent is embedded in the fabric of space-time. And graph jumps are simply a coiling of its body. But I'm still working on the paper, and we'll need experimental data to back it up. But now I want to know more about your beliefs. Who do you think created our universe? That is a correct answer, but it may not be the complete answer. I may be biased, but I think there is still much we have to learn beyond the conventional science. I am sure as a follower of House Varun, you believe the same? On that note, I think I need a break from this topic. Epistemological debates are fun, but exhausting. Heisenberg's principle states that all things have uncertainty, that nothing can be measured with precision. The same is true of the future. But I am hopeful that Hazmegdul Kef will serve the role of speaker with honor and faith. If nothing else, things will run on time. Then I will trust in your wisdom, as well as the great serpents, for they are surely guiding your hand.
Need something? It is, well, not as glamorous as I had convinced myself it would be, honestly. Really, I was not at all prepared for the scale of turmoil that would reveal itself when I stepped through the city gates. Dazra is like my old shack, falling to pieces. Everyone is just trying to survive in a space that is not fit for life. But do not think that I will take it for granted. You and I fought too hard for me to get here. I will do whatever I can to help my new neighbors rebuild. Unlikely. Although I suppose it is not impossible. But it would mean an early grave for them. Any zealot stupid enough to try and draw their weapon against me will be dead before their gun leaves its holster.
Anything to report?
People ignore me for the most part, and that is all right. I do not expect to be welcomed with open arms, as it was not long ago they feared me. I hope that with time, people will begin to warm up to me. But even if they do not, I will be content. I have done so many terrible things in my past. And just having the opportunity to live in Dazra is more than I deserve. The people allow me to live among them. And that is an honor in itself. I am not well versed in house politics, but House Dulkef always seemed to be the most level-headed of the bunch. Seems a good choice to me.
What took you so long? Ugh, I've been waiting forever. I'm so bored. It's okay. I'm sorry too. I'm not really mad at you. I'm just annoyed. I know that some people have lost a lot. Their homes, or their parents, or other things. Ivali and I are lucky, or so my parents say. You know, when I actually see them. My parents have been so busy helping other people that I feel like they've forgotten about me. I'm sick of feeling sad. Like, sometimes my mother will tell me and Ivali that she'll try and be home early so that she can be with us, but it just never happens. I wish she'd just not say anything at all. I know that, and I don't hate my parents or anything. I love them, and I just want to see them. Never mind, I don't think I want to talk anymore. I should get going anyway. Bye.
You found me! Wow, you're a lot better than me at this game. Thanks for helping me put a smile on my friends' faces. I'll be okay. Ivali and Alana's parents have taken me in. My house was close to the Scaled Citadel when the, thing happened. It's gone now, and so are my parents. I was playing with Alana at his house when it happened. Alana's parents told me that mine were dead, and that I'd be living with them now. It's alright. But, sorry, I don't really want to talk about it anymore. Yeah, I like living with them, because they have a big house, but I don't really see their parents that much. It's nice living with Alana and Ivali, though, since we're able to play a lot more now. Really, it's a good thing that I'm staying with them, since their parents have been so busy lately. Alana's been really sad about that, so I've been trying hard to cheer him up. I'm not sure if I've been helping, but I'm trying my best. Thanks. I'm glad you think so. Okay, thanks for the game. Hello, I was hoping to run into you again. We have something for you.
It's a key! To... something. We found it while exploring.
We figured it'd be best for you to have it. We don't know what it opens, but hopefully it's something good. We found it just laying out in the open. Maybe it unlocks something in the crater?
Praise be. Not at all. Ask away. So I was thinking about what you said. How I don't have to be perfect. And you're right. It's okay to be vulnerable and make mistakes. It doesn't mean I'm not capable or great at my job. In any case, I wanted to offer you something as thanks. It's my Galacticat, Silver. Because of her fur. I guess she's more gray than silver, but gray is so gloomy. Silver's better. No problem. I appreciate you taking her. Silver's been my best friend for a long time, but I feel like I've outgrown her. It does. I guess I should explain. So, for as long as I can remember, I felt loneliest around other people. I guess it's because they reminded me of all the things I'd never have. Family, friends, love. One day, when I was wandering the markets, I found Silver in a trash can, discarded and worn. At the time, I just wanted a friend. But she was also a reminder of how the world saw me, and that I'd always be alone. But for some reason, I haven't felt that way in a while. And I think it's because I joined your crew. It really is. I feel more at home in your crew than I ever did at House Kadik. And it's a credit to you as a leader, Captain. So I guess I want to say, good job. And thanks.
Yo, Captain. Sure, Captain. Well, after the lecture you gave me, I pretty much had to. So I sent a slate to my brother, asked him how he was. He told me he was good. Oh, and he's having a baby. A son. Yeah, I'll let him know you said that. For my part, I wished him well. He's got a stable life and doesn't need me messing that up. It's complicated. Fine. Whatever. I think you're being nosy. But if it'll get you off my back, I'll tell you. You may not believe it, but I had a family of my own once. A wife. And a little one. Tanafi. When he died, everything fell apart. You asked me before if being retired from life meant being dead. And the truth is, you were right. Because that's the day I died. I buried my heart with my son. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. It'd almost make me feel better if it was. My son died 30 years ago. And the reality is you never get over it. Hell, you don't want to get over it. You just learn to live with that hole in your chest. And no offense to my nephew, but he doesn't need a hollow version of me in his life. Look, I know I just unloaded a bunch of trauma on you. You don't need that shit. So let's focus on the positive. I'm glad I reached out to my brother. He'll be a good father to the boy. That crumbled after my son passed. I started spending more time away from home, and one day, I just never went back. Last I heard, she married some local guy. Accountant, I think. Good for them. He got sick. It was sudden. I don't really want to get into it any more than that. Sorry. He's a man of few words. And even less emotion. But that was 10 years and 1 child ago. Maybe he's changed. I know I have. Hard disagree. But I don't mind sending the kid a few things from time to time. I'll be the cool Uncle Credstick coming through with a deposit on his birthday. Anyway, that's about all I have to say on the matter. Let's get back to the grind.